This month, in October, we read The Housemaid by Frieda McFadden. And I don't know why I always yell when we're recording. So,
hello out there!
Is anybody listening?
Can you hear me? Echo.
Anyway, so for our genre diversity challenge, October was thriller, so I picked The Housemaid, and it was very interesting.
Was it thrilling?
It was thrilling, I think. I was thrilled reading it.
I wasn't.
Miranda got a little freaked out.
I got a little depresso.
Depresso?
Depresso.
Are you going to rewrite Sabrina Carpenter's song, Espresso?
Yeah.
Sitting in the dark with my book, feeling a little depresso.
It's a little more relatable.
So I really liked how the book was written with the part 1 and the part 2. I like how you it kind of like set Nina up to be this like horrible person, and like Millie's just kind of judging her for all these things, like judging the little girl for the dresses that she was wearing, and she was constantly like noting the dress that Cece was wearing and just like how impractical it was.
Mm-hmm.
And like we had the scene in the kitchen where Nina like was tearing the fridge apart and throwing everything on the ground. And then she like turns to Millie and she's like, look. Right. And Millie was like, why would I have put them in the fridge even if I moved them? Like, why would I put them in the fridge? But then she like turns to Millie and she's like, look at this mess you made, clean it up. And then it like shows Nina's side of it and kind of how that played into her plan.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of expected when it first started and it like switched to Nina, I thought it was going to be this story where like at the end you still didn't know who was true. Like Nina sharing her side of it, but if she was really psychotic, her side would still be like delusional.
Mm-hmm. But like both of your narrators are unreliable, and so you don't actually know what's going on.
Right. And so I thought it would still be this story of like, oh, Nina, like I thought at the end Andrew would still be like, no, Nina's literally crazy, like you can't trust her, and then Nina's like telling us her story and like her delusions and her reality and things. And then at the end it would still be like, I don't know who the crazy person was. But I mean, obviously that was not the ending.
Nope.
I think the book, like when you look at the book, it's misleading. Like it doesn't actually tell you what
the back of the book.
Yeah,
I feel like that's been a theme lately.
Behind closed doors, she sees everything. She didn't see nothing behind closed doors. That makes it seem like
she saw what was behind
the door. Yeah, she saw the nail marks on the door when it was closed.
Well, and then the back of the book says, by the time I realize my attic door only locks from the outside, it's far too late. That's not true, because she realized that when she was taking a tour of the house.
She knew that before she was even hired. Mm-hmm.
Right. And like that made me think like the whole thing, she was just going to be locked in the attic from the get-go.
Mm-hmm.
Right, like why would she take a job and then get locked in the attic and then stay at the job?
Right.
I thought Millie was going to end up being, like before I started reading it, was going to end up being like the problem. Because it says the Winchesters don't know who I really am. They don't know what I'm capable of. Nina does. Like, that's why she gets hired.
Right. Yeah. And like with that little ending there, right? Like I realized my attic door only locks from the outside. And then they don't know what I'm capable of. I imagined her like getting locked into a room and having to like figure her way out in some like impossible scheme that like they didn't think about. and coming out and like in the shadows, like terrifying this family and like seeking revenge.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even like at the beginning of that, it says, I try on one of Nina's pristine white dresses. That, like, when I read that, I was imagining like she's cleaning the house and she's going through the
She like
closet
went in
and
the
she
closet.
let me try it on once. When Nina gave her the dress, that's why she put it on. She didn't like take
Right.
one of Nina's dresses.
Right. She wasn't, yeah, like I imagined her being like, oh, nobody's home, it won't hurt. Or like Nina being out of town and her being like, oh, she won't notice while she's gone if I just try this one on or something.
Right. Like
Yeah,
she's
I feel
playing
like the back
dress
of
up.
the book was,
I mean, I guess they can't also be like, hey, somebody's crazy and she's gonna get attacked. And here's the whole plot of the story.
no, but
True.
they could say something more of like, she takes a live-in job and things don't feel right and they quickly unravel. I don't know. I mean, there's a better way to
Right, the
word
book
that, but
the book on the back of the book is a different book that I read.
I could I could take the description on the back of this book and put it into ChatGPT and get you a totally different thriller written by AI. That's not to say like the book's not good. I liked the book. I'm just saying the back of the book is not the same as the inside.
Yes. Yes. I agree.
What did I don't remember. What did Nina kill somebody? Is that why she was in jail?
Yeah, she killed a boy in college or like early
Oh
college.
no, it was she
Millie.
was. I thought it was her senior year.
Millie,
Millie, sorry.
not Millie.
Did I say Nina? What did I say?
Yeah.
You
Yeah, you
said
said
Oh,
Nina.
Nina.
Yeah,
Millie
it was
Millie was in jail for murdering a boy who
was
attacked
she?
her friend.
She was in high
it was
school though, right?
manslaughter. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
it was a
think she was in
boarding
high
It was
school,
school.
like
like
her
her senior
senior
year.
year,
Yeah.
or was it college?
Something. It was a high school, I think. I think she was 17 when she went to jail or something like that.
Because I had this whole conversation with Nate, because she's like in the second book, she's constantly bringing up the fact that she can't get a job, like a regular job, because people will do her background check and find it out. And so I was asking him, I was like, if somebody got arrested at 17, though, that would be a juvenile record. But he said that if they got arrested, because I was like, in the book, she gets arrested, she's in jail for 10 years. And he said, well, if she was charged as a juvenile, then they get out when they're 18, regardless of like what the crime was. If they were charged as a juvenile, once they're no longer a juvenile, they get out. So he said if it's a sentence that lasts into the adult life, then they were probably charged as an adult and it would still show up on the background check. It's not a
That makes
sealed
sense.
record. Because I was
That makes
confused
sense. So
about
she's
that,
just
about
stuck taking vigilante jobs.
Mm-hmm.
apparently.
I thought it was kind of fun using the Fable, like being able to like
Oh, yes.
talk.
So,
Talk about stuff.
so for those of you listening to us, we started using a new app for book clubs called Fable. And you can go through like chapter by chapter and like share your thoughts, talk to people about it. So that was kind of fun. Actually,
It's
advertising.
public. Yeah,
It's
It is.
public, so anybody can
it's
join.
public. Anybody can join.
And then it has our current read, and then it will break it down by chapter. And so any like reaction that you have to any part of the book, you can just put it in whatever chapter that corresponds with, and somebody will respond to you. Like all of these, I think there's one that only has one post. It's chapter 45. It was Miranda. Nobody responded to Miranda. Oh, nope. Here's
How
another
sad.
one. Also Miranda.
So yeah, you can find us on there, Abound Sisters, and then you can kind of join the conversation throughout the month. And what do you think? We have 7 members right now. That's cool.
We do. We have 7 members. It would be exciting if we had 14 members next month. Let's just keep doubling it.
I would like to
Um,
note that chapter 16 was where we went off, which is when she finds out that Nina was in the mental institution.
Oh yeah.
Institute. We were like, ah!
Yeah, we were like, duh, I called it.
Yeah, but she shouldn't have been in the
Crazy
mental
first word.
institution.
Okay, I was asking Christopher
True.
about like he's not a doctor or anything. Let's put that out there. But he's really interested in medication. But I was like, if somebody is not crazy and they're on antipsychotics, like does that then make them crazy?
Does it
Or
make them
like, what if
psychotic?
you're not depressed and you're being forced to take antidepressants? Like, what does that do to you? He was like, it doesn't really do much unless oh, this was a couple weeks ago. I don't remember his exact answer. There was something where like there's something in the medication that if you take that and you get too much, then it starts to make you sick. I don't remember exactly what it was. But
Hmm.
I was like, Nina's being forced to take medication for something that she doesn't have. Well, she could be depressed because I would be depressed living in that house, but
Right. Like you never know when you're going to get tortured.
Right.
Like that was
Mhm.
torturing of itself.
Yeah.
Like every day she was like, every day I just wonder if I did something.
Because sometimes it was just random stuff. Like when she sprayed like Febreze in her bedroom or something, and he
Right.
just decided he was like that was too much.
That's too much. She was like, it was literally the same I did every single time.
Yeah. And
And
he's
his
like,
punishment for that was
But
pepper
then, and,
spray. Like, what?
right.
yeah,
Like the Febreze was so bad, it burned his lungs. But I like how she noticed, she was like, but if I didn't use any, then he would be just as mad.
yeah. So it's always just like, well, I'm gonna do this and hope nothing bad happens.
Right. Or like when Millie left the books out and he was like, you used my books, Millie. She's like, sorry, I'll put them. Oh, wait, you don't understand, Millie.
You have one chance to
Right.
do
He like
everything right.
you disrespected my books. I'm like, what?
She gently set them down on a table.
Okay.
Like,
Right. It's not even like, oh, I found them on the
I have a question.
floor or. Okay, Miranda had a funny reaction to this, so I'm going to ask it again.
oh, I don't remember.
If if Andrew hadn't been revealed as the villain, did you guys hope that their romance would blossom?
Oh no.
No.
He still felt weird, like 2 seconds away from his wife, and he was like, "Let's get in bed, let's go." Like,
Well, and
even
then
if
like,
she is sick, like,
right, even if she was crazy,
yeah,
he like just decided
Yeah,
that
it was a little
this was like
weird.
beyond what he was. But also, I didn't like how Millie was all of a sudden just like this was now her world.
oh yeah,
Like,
like 2 seconds after Nina walks out the door, she's like, "Enzo doesn't leave our yard."
yeah, right. And she's just like, oh, where will I sleep? Because I don't want to sleep in the attic, but I don't want to sleep in that bed that Millie was in or that Nina was in. Like it's still warm from her. I can't sleep there. But yeah, it's like they literally just separated. They
Okay, that whole like situation with Nina leaving when Nina was like packing up and Millie's like, "Do you need help packing?" My like, jaw hit the floor. I was like,
do you need help? And
not
she was
just
like,
ask.
do I need help? I just love the
In Nina's mind,
awkwardness.
she's like, "You need help."
Yeah, she's like, no, I don't need help. This is what I wanted. No, but I was just imagining the awkwardness of like Nina like pressed up against the wall, like eavesdropping, and then
Millie.
sorry, I keep getting them mixed up. Yes, Millie pressed against the wall, eavesdropping, and then Nina like walking up the stairs and like stopping and seeing her, and Millie's just like, yep, I'm here. Like, I can't run now. And then Nina walks by, and then Millie's like, do you want some help? Oh, that would be so funny in a movie.
I'm kind of excited, like,
Aren't
that
they
they're
making this?
turning it into a movie.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So like I think
I saw that on Facebook. I don't
Amanda,
know.
what's her name? The girl from Mean
The girl
I
Girls,
from
felt
the
Mean
boob
Seatbelt.
Girls.
girl, the boob girl. Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
She's gonna
There's a
be
90%
Nina.
chance it is currently raining.
That's not who I would imagine as Nina.
Oh, but she looks good in
No,
the advertisement.
Nina's supposed to be overweight, right? Like she on purpose gained weight so that he
Yeah,
would not find her attractive.
not find her attractive.
Which also like for as often as he punished her for like the silliest things, why was he not punishing her for overeating? Like she turned into this like
Like he just
crazy
arbitrarily
unkept
pulled punishments out of a hat.
person. So he was, I
Yeah.
don't
Well,
know.
she
I don't
still
know.
wore white
I would
all the
think
time.
mom say something
I
about
don't think she
how
was.
like how he should
I don't
punish
think the
her.
mom said anything. I think it was just something he put on her because his mom always wore white.
Yeah. Because he had some weird fascination with his mother.
Well, because his mom
His
also
mommy
tortured
issues.
him.
Well, that's true. But why
So,
would you want your
Okay,
wife to look like the person who tortured you?
so after everything, like all of the things, I think some of this stuff was semi expected just because, it's a murder mystery whatever thriller book. Um but at the end at his wake and his mom like comes up to talk to Millie and she tells her about like when he was a kid he didn't have good
Nina.
dental hygiene.
Yeah, Nina.
I'm not the
Oh,
only
it
one
was
doing
Nina,
it.
not
She
Millie.
went and talked to Nina.
Yes, Nina. She talked to Nina about how when he was a kid, he didn't have good dental hygiene, so she pulled out his baby teeth with a pliers.
She
And so
she made him do it,
that
didn't she?
no,
Yeah.
she did it. It said she did it. Pretty sure.
Oh, I thought she
Anyways,
made him do it.
his baby teeth were removed with pliers. And so the first thought I had was gross, but the second thought was I wonder if that was kind of a flashback for him because Millie asked him to do that, but she had no clue.
Uh-huh.
She had no clue that
Oh,
that
Right.
yeah.
was like something from his childhood. So I wonder if like that was almost not that pulling out your teeth wouldn't be traumatic to begin with, but I wonder if like it was like more traumatic because it was a childhood thing that his mom would do to him. Like that's so weird.
Or did one time.
Yeah. Cause like how old was he? Hold on.
Oh, it does
Are you looking?
say it. She took out one of his baby teeth with pliers.
Yeah. Oh, and then the cop who was like, uh,
Oh, the ex-girlfriend's
Oh,
dad.
yeah, he's like, oh, my daughter was engaged to Andrew and they broke up and I never knew what happened. But she changed her name and fled the state or whatever. So, I mean, that was
Yeah.
a big red flag. But
he was like, I got you. Don't worry about it.
yeah,
But like I
yeah,
also wonder what Nina would have done if the detective wasn't on her side. Like was she just going to go to
yeah.
jail?
I think so. I think that was her plan. But also, like, would Millie have just
Mm.
let her do that? So I
Millie's
don't
I don't
know.
know.
I mean, like if
Millie's
all of these
gone.
women came together, yeah, that's true. If all of these women came together and were like, this man tortured us, like, granted, she didn't outright kill him. Like,
I still
she
think
just locked
somebody
him
would
up,
have gone to jail.
probably.
Right. I think if when she had him locked up and he was alive, if she had called the cops and then the three of them, if they were able to find the ex-fiance and the three
Mhm.
of them went to the cops with their stories, then they probably would have been fine and they could have just
Yeah.
arrested him and taken him to jail. But I think the fact that she let him starve to death.
Yeah.
He was dehydrated. I don't think he starved to death. I think it was the water. Because she was about
Maybe.
to
Either
unlock the
way,
door
he
to
was
get
locked in a
water.
room and died.
Yeah, no. Though there were plenty of times he was like, I at least gave you water bottles. And he was like, well, maybe you should have put more in there in case you ever got locked in there. But there were like times where I was like, she can't be stupid enough to open the door and like provide him with things, because I was like, if that
Yeah.
door ever
Well,
opens, it's never going to shut
so
again.
when they were talking about
Yeah.
Nina, how Nina went into the house and she saw, so when I read it, my first thought was that the attic door was open because it was like, but it was the hallway to the attic. But it was like
Oh
the
yeah, I
way
thought
it,
Andrew was out.
yeah, the way I read it, the attic door was open, and I was like, "Who's gonna die?" I'm like, "Who's dying?"
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah, I
was
thought
weird.
Andrew had gotten
Also,
out.
well, so I guess I'm just trying to think the timeline. I guess if he died of dehydration, then he probably didn't last very long. Because he did only have like one water bottle, I think.
No, he didn't have any.
Yeah,
She
because
drank them all.
She drank them
Oh,
all?
Yeah.
Oh, so probably within like 3 days, which Enzo went to Nina and was like, Millie's car hasn't left for days, which I guess would make sense if she was just. He must have not been dead for very long then when Nina went back. It never really says like exactly how long it was, just that that Millie's car hadn't moved for days.
I want to say 5 or 6 days. Hold on. 5 days. Oh, she says, hold on.
I,
Hold on. I
it
just
hadn't
flipped to the
moved for
page.
5 days?
It's Nina. Nina's talking. Um,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, she opened the door to the attic because she was convinced that Millie was inside the door, like was behind the door, and nobody was responding. So she opened the door and she saw a body or whatever. Um, and then she heard Millie behind her. She's like pointing pepper spray at her face. She says, "Put the pepper spray down." I say as calmly as I can. She doesn't comply. "I'm not going to hurt you, I promise." I glance over at the body on the floor and then back at Millie. "How long has he been here?" 5 days. Her voice was blank, has a blank quality. Anyways, 6, I've lost count. So 5 or 6 days, maybe more,
That he was in the attic.
that he was in the
mhm.
attic. Yeah. And then she says, "How long has he been dead?" But she says, "Do you think he's dead?" She never answers how long he's been dead. So it must have been 5 or 6 days that he was in there. And I don't think
So
you
he
can
had probably
go.
been.
It's like 2 days
I
or something
think
without
I
water.
thought it was 3 days.
It might be 3 days.
Let's see.
About 3 days, and it can depend on several factors. Also, I'm sure it depends on like how well hydrated he was going into the
Before.
attic.
One thing, though, says, "Without water and food, a person cannot survive more than 4 days." That
Well,
was
he
one
was
of the
dead
drop
for
down.
like a
At
day
least a
to 3
day.
days.
Because she was saying that his
Interesting.
like face was all sunken in and stuff.
Well, that would happen as he was like dehydrating, I would think.
And what was Millie's
Yeah.
plan? If like she didn't know Nina was coming back, like
Just to live in the
I don't
house.
know.
live in the house with the dead body. Did you hear about the lady who got? Anyways, never mind.
What?
Did you hear about the lady in the UK that the cop showed up at her house and she's like, "Oh yeah, my parents are dead.
I
They've
did
been dead."
hear about her. I didn't know that was in the UK.
Anyways,
That's weird. No. I don't hear about
Yeah,
things.
she was.
So wait, did she
Crazy.
kill her parents or did they just die and she just left them there?
No, she
she
killed
killed
him.
them.
Oh.
And then she was just sitting there when the cops came in.
Like, well, she had been living with them in the house for like a couple months or something like that. And then the cops showed up and they were like, "We are here to investigate suspected murder." And she's like, "Suspected?"
Not
She didn't say that. That was some other
suspected
guy.
anymore.
She's like, I'll tell you where they're at. Dad's up in the bedroom, mom's up in this other room. Anyways, that's what that made me think of.
Okay, I thought the scene when Millie tried to come on to Enzo. That was
He
so
freaks
funny.
out, starts cursing.
Yes, I wish that they had put like actual Italian words so that I could look up what they were, because she was like, he just started screaming in Italian, and she's like, I put my hand on his chest. And I'm just imagining, like, it's not like they had a lot of conversations or interactions like beforehand.
Yeah.
They're, like, he just helped carry her bags into the house and told her it was dangerous. And then he helped.
And then she's like,
Didn't he help carry? He carried in the heavy, what ended up being the baby box, that he carried that box into the house.
And that's when she put the moves on him.
That was that time? I thought it was one time when she let him in to get some water.
I mean, I think she gave him water, but it was when he was... I think she gave him water again when he brought in the box, but that was when she...
That was when she made the move?
Started flirting with him, yeah.
But I just thought it was so funny because I was like, they have not had more than maybe 5 words exchanged.
Well, I mean, that was her idea. She was like, well, he can't speak English, so...
So I'm just going to throw myself at him and hopefully he rips my clothes off. Hopefully he gets the message as I lunge across the room. And we'll find a bed somewhere.
She's got the attic upstairs.
Because he's not even a living gardener.
No.
He works neighborhood along the street, yeah. And then he goes home at night. So it's not like he has some shack on the edge of the property or something, and all she's got is an attic.
No one was home.
I'm like, it's just so funny. And then I just love the fact that she like makes a move and he just like, and she's like, okay, I'm sorry. But then you find out that he actually understands. I mean, it was her only option.
She doesn't have a lot of good experience, right? Like, she said that she had done it one time before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's been in jail.
It was in high school.
She was 17. But, I mean, then you come to find out that Enzo actually does understand quite a bit of English.
Mm-hmm.
But
he understands all English.
I think he just pretends.
He pretends.
Yeah.
Oh, doesn't it?
So that things
does it say it in the first
one? Because he pretends because all of the ladies in the neighborhood want to be with him, and he's like, if I don't speak English, then I can ignore them.
Right. Or I can just play dumb when they like say things.
Yeah. And then Nina just confesses everything to him, and he's like...
You're like, your husband's a monster. I shall kill him.
I thought it was wild that Enzo had feelings for Nina. I was like, didn't see that coming.
Oh, yeah. He like goes and visits her at the hotel. Uh-huh. Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they jump into bed.
He's like, I didn't want to be with Millie because I wanted you. Oh,
all sorts of things. Okay, I'm wondering, why didn't Nina cut open the window in the attic for Millie?
Oh, the pain.
She knew that. Yeah, she left the pepper spray. She left a bucket, but she didn't like get a new window.
I don't know.
Or like
maybe
turn
she just
around the
wanted
door
her to think
handle.
she was crazy. I think that was just all part of her.
Well, she also
plan for Millie to hate her.
I mean, I think Millie would have hated her even with the window open, but
Nina didn't think that Andrew was going to like immediately start torturing her though, because even when Enzo went to the hotel and was like, "You need to go help Millie you got her into this situation knowing what you were getting her into. Like, you need to go help her. Nina was like, Andrew didn't start torturing me until after we were married.
Yeah.
Like, so even if they were gonna have a relationship or whatever, she was like, surely he's not doing anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think she expected it to like happen so fast.
Yeah.
It kind of makes me
I was
wonder
mad
if
at
like
Nina for
he. Okay, so I thought that my thought was that what if Andrew has like, because he hasn't been able to torture Nina for so long, like because Millie's been living in the attic room and it's been a while, so maybe he had an itch that he had to scratch, and so he just jumped right in
Right.
on
Like it's
Millie.
an addiction, and he gets a good kick out of it.
Yeah.
what a guy.
Sounds like a great guy.
I was mad at Nina for purposely putting Millie into a situation that she knew was bad. Like I know she was desperate and she couldn't figure out any other way to get out, but like it's not good to take someone and purposefully put them into a bad situation.
Right. Well, and like she was just gonna totally like bail and get out of town and leave. Like she had no
Yeah.
intention on ever going back to see if Andrew
What
did. Like
happens to
she
Millie?
wanted Millie to kill Andrew. She knew like that Millie had, her violent past and was like in jail for murdering somebody, and so she was kind of like hoping that Millie would kill her, but like she had no intentions of ever coming back to check on
Mm-hmm.
Millie, to see if Andrew was dead,
Yeah.
like none of that. She was just like, peace out. I
She was
hired you
just
to
like,
do a job that I didn't even tell you were hired for. Hopefully you can figure it out.
yeah. I mean, Millie was already like, even though Millie had murdered somebody already, she was a really vulnerable person.
Right.
And that doesn't, like, just because she had done it before doesn't mean she was capable of doing it again.
Right. And
Or
it
even
was
like getting out of a locked room. like,
right. And they're like two completely different situations. Like walking in on somebody attacking your friend and kind
mm-hmm.
of going into fight mode to save your friend is very
Yeah.
different than being locked in an attic that you
Mm-hmm.
have to find your way out of and then defend yourself against that guy.
Yeah. When
So,
you've like
Well, I think
not
it
been
was a little
fed
bit
in a couple
more
days and
because
have had limited water and
I think it was a little bit more because like
yes.
all of the things that Millie ever got in trouble for, um it was like somebody was being mean to her, and then the teacher came on to her, and then so it was almost like she had this habit of like acting out when somebody like acted wrongly against her. And so I think that Nina was counting on Millie not liking the torture and like getting back at Andrew for it, because that's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like her MO.
Well, I think
So
Nina talked about like one of her reasons that it was better for Millie to be in this situation than for her was because Millie didn't have a CC,
right.
and so she didn't have anything that uh, Andrew could like threaten her with. But like, still,
Right. I think she figured like Millie would get let out after she completed her punishment, and
hmm
then she would be able to escape after that. Like
yeah,
she would be able to just run. I think it's maybe what she was like, either she's going to kill him or she's just going to get away from him. But
yeah.
then he was using her past against her because he said that he would call her parole officer and say that she stole something.
I'm still curious about that because what if Millie doesn't show up to her? Like, what if she ends up staying in that room and she doesn't show up for her parole meeting, or
Right.
her parole officer is like, "Hey, where you've been?" like,
Why are you
guess I gotta
so
go find
skinny
you
from
now.
not eating? Even if she did show up, like, I feel like she would look different if she was being tortured.
Yeah.
Well, also, I was
So.
thinking that her parole officer knows her well enough, I would think, that if Millie had told her parole officer what was going on and what was like what he was doing and holding over her head and all of that stuff, like her parole officer would believe her, even if like this strange man
Well,
was
I
like,
don't think
"Oh,
she's been out of
she's
jail
just
for very
crazy."
long.
She's at least been out of jail for like a year because she was working at the bar.
How long was she at the bar, though?
Well, she was at the bar for a couple of months, and then she got fired from there, and then
And then she
like
had
a
1
month
month.
later,
She
yeah,
had
her
1 month of no job and living in her car because she lied to her parole officer.
yeah. Well, I mean, think she had her apartment for a little bit after she got fired, but then once she couldn't pay rent anymore, she got kicked out, and then she was in her car,
Hmm.
and then
And
she had been
then
in
the
her car
next,
for a while.
no, because she said she only went to one meeting or one appointment
Oh,
where she lied, and she was like, I can't lie to her again about being in my
okay.
car.
Well, I'm gonna assume she's been out for 6 months to like a year.
I feel like that's not enough time for a parole officer to really know somebody, though.
If you're
I mean,
like
they
meeting them
usually
once a month.
have a couple people. I don't know. I've never been a parole officer.
Yeah. Well, also
Well, go do
she
that real
didn't
quick.
she didn't go to jail for stealing things, and so even if like I don't know, even if he was like, "Oh, she stole this," that's kind of like not what she does. Like she doesn't go around
Right,
stealing things. That would be out of
right.
character.
She
That would not
lashes
be in
out and attacks
line.
people.
Right, that would not be in line with her altercations.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Right. It's like when you watch like a crime show and they find a criminal and they're like, look at this guy's rap sheet. He murdered 2 people and then he stole from the gas station? Like, what? None of these charges make. They're like, normally your crimes get worse. Like, and they're like, this must be an undercover cop. And they just made up this rap sheet. But, anyways.
Yeah, I think Andrew's logic with Millie wasn't working out there for him.
It's okay.
I think he would have slipped eventually.
Didn't get to that point. He never got the chance.
That's true. Millie was too smart. Okay.
Okay, is my audio like normal now? I still
Yeah.
delay. Oh, I see my little jiggly lines now. I didn't see that.
Yes, your
Okay.
audio is normal.
Okay.
Oh my God, we're back again. What is this about to say? Okay. Am I original? Okay. Sorry, this time for real. So what do we
Miranda's
think
gonna put
about the
that in
book?
there. Wait, are we at that? Are we doing that right now? Are we done talking about it?
Did you have anything else you wanted to share? I didn't
don't
have any
think
more
so.
questions.
I was just asking. I mean, you didn't start with any questions. We just kind of made those up on the fly.
Because we're getting so
That's how
good
good
at
we
this.
are. 2 different responses there.
What do we think about the book?
I thought it was good. It's not my normal read, and it did make me very anxious. So I had to go read I read The Pumpkin Spice Cafe after it to help me.
It's like when you watch a
relax.
scary movie at night and then you have to put on a Disney movie before you go to bed.
Or like people are always like crying about books. I don't really cry at books, but if a character is anxious, I am also anxious. So it was good.
I stopped like halfway through, and then I didn't come back to it until like earlier this week, and I was right before part 3 or whatever, and I told Miranda that I had like stopped. She's like, "How did you stop right before part 3?" I was like, "Well, I had to go make dinner."
Well, part 1 you get Millie's, part 2 you get Nina's, and part 3 is the wrap up. So like you got these 2 connecting pieces, and you were like, but I did think that you meant like, oh, I lost interest and I set it down for a couple days, and now I need to go back. Not that I needed to go cook dinner.
I've been reading a lot of Frieda McFadden. So this one was her 4th book that I read this month. And I think I like her like standalone books more than the series so far. I'm like halfway through the 2nd one. So I think the standalones are a little bit, I mean, this was like twisty and crazy, but I feel like the other ones were even more like just they're crazy, okay? And this one didn't make me so much like scared. It was like, I mean, it was interesting and stuff, but the other ones, like, I had to kind of put down for a second and like come back to reality and just be like, okay, it's okay, Jill. This isn't happening in real life. So it was good, but I would suggest other books by her before this one.
Books like this definitely have me wondering, like where do these authors come from, and what kind of worlds do they live in that they can even think of sick and twisted things this like. I'm just like, how?
I say that when I watch Criminal Minds.
Isn't Criminal Minds based off of real like events though? Like actual cases?
I think some of them are because they talk about like real serial killers, but some of them are supposed to just be like made up. But I don't know. I'm like, yeah, same thing. Like, how does somebody's brain think, oh yeah, let's lock people up in the attic and torture them for the stupidest things?
Right?
She's like, that sounds good.
I'm sure she's a lovely person. Frieda McFadden is probably one of the nicest people you'll ever meet.
Also, whoever writes for Law and Order, any of them, but specifically SVU, because those are dark episodes.
True.
And it's not just one person. It's a group of people. It's a group of writers in a room thinking.
I guess like if your outlet is a TV show, that's better.
So you're not doing it in real life?
Yeah.
Psychological suspense. But no, I'd probably give it like a 4. I would recommend it to people who are looking for a thriller. I would probably just say pick a Frieda McFadden book.
Yeah.
Just go to your local Walmart, close your eyes at the Frieda McFadden shelf.
That one.
I
heard a lot of people talk about The Teacher.
I'm going to read that after this series.
That should be. Okay, I rated this book a 3.5.
A 3.5. What's that?
Better at knowing these things.
A 3.5 is pretty good. A 3.5 is pretty good. It's a solid read with some good parts, but it has its flaws. Still, you'll probably enjoy it.
What's a 4?
A 4 is really enjoyable. A really good book, but a really good book that's fun and engaging. It's not flawless, but it's definitely worth your time.
I'll stick with a 4.
Okay.
What do you say, Kelly? What say ye, Kelly? Oh, that rhymed.
Okay.
I would probably say 4, but just solely based on the fact that I want to see the movie more than anything else. Like, so 4.
It's not going to be the same.
No,
it's not.
Probably won't.
They're going to change it.
4 for the movie.
I was talking to Richie about it, and I was like, I don't even know how they're going to make this into a movie, because the way it like goes back and forth between points of view, I don't think that would work for a movie. So I'm interested in what they do. Kind of like where the Crawdads sing, like they had to kind of rearrange things because the way the book was written, that it would.
Yeah, like are they going to do the like view 1, view 2?
Right.
You three? Or will it just be like you see that Millie thinks that Nina is crazy, but you know Nina's side of the story, and now you're wondering how they're gonna defeat Andrew?
But that really, I
Well,
feel like,
I mean,
wouldn't
I
make
think the
sense.
yeah, because I think the major twist in this whole thing is the fact that Andrew is torturing people.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you know from the beginning, like if you know Nina's side from the beginning of it, then you don't really think that Andrew is just this great, loving, patient husband
Yeah.
that, he's like set up to be in the first half of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they
Yeah.
would definitely have to keep them separate. But it would be interesting because essentially, like, when you learn things about Nina, it's just her kind of thinking in her head about, like,
Like
I
just
don't know. I mean,
remembering stuff.
right, and I guess it does. It goes about her, like, process. So it says step 1, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess they could set her up to be, like, in the hotel with Enzo, and, like, her explaining it to Enzo maybe, and then doing, like, flashbacks.
Mm-hmm.
But kind of like, have any of you guys seen, like, Ocean 11?
I have. I could tell you nothing about it.
They
Same.
kind of, like, the way that they do it is they, like, start talking about their plan, and as they're talking
Oh,
about it, you, like,
just like a
see,
heist movie thing.
yeah. So they're like, what we're going to do is we're going to go down into the elevator, and then you watch like, as they're making their plan, the people are playing it out.
Like part two, Nina's story would be more of like a montage, sort of like quick
Yes,
thing
of,
that
like, the
happens.
previous, and she would be, like, in the hotel room telling
Enzo this.
Enzo about it or something.
And there's a room of people trying to figure this out, and they're going to listen to our podcast and they're going to go, that's such a good idea. We'll just write that.
And I'm going to get no money for it.
Yeah.
Dang it, I should have kept that a secret.
I think pretty highly of our podcast that somewhere somebody who is in charge of things like movies is going to be listening to us. Good job, Miranda.
Hey, you never know.
Get ideas.
You never know who's listening, okay?
But
Reese Witherspoon could be listening right now, and she's like, that's the movie.
nailed it.
By the way, if Reese Witherspoon is listening, please let us know if you're listening. That would be super awesome. But she probably
Yes,
doesn't.
please make this known. We will blow up if Reese Witherspoon backs us. Everybody tag her in our posts.
She has her own book club. She doesn't care about our book club.
Reese Witherspoon wakes up one day to 5 new notifications.
Just 5. She's like, what? I'm sure she has lots of notifications, but these 5.
She's gonna
Right here.
She's just gonna ignore them. All 5 people who tag her, because 3 of them will be us, and then we can get Megan. So we just got
Megan.
one more.
We'll get Nicole.
There you go. There's our 5.
Oh my
All right.
Good job.
What are we reading next month? Because you changed your plan.
I did change my plan. Well, they didn't know that I changed my plan.
I know, but I'm
Okay,
kind of
next
disappointed.
month. I'm sorry. We can read that one. I just felt like I
Change
picked
it.
something different.
Change it.
Okay. Next month is
Historical fiction.
historical fiction. And we are reading The Briar Club by Kate Quinn. So that synopsis is a haunting and powerful story of female friendship and secrets in Washington, D.C., boarding house during the McCarthy era. Washington, D.C., 1950. Everyone keeps to themselves at Briarwood House, a down at the hills all-female boarding house in the heart of the nation's capital, where secrets hide behind white picket fences. But when the lovely, mysterious widow Grace March moves into the attic, we're going for the attic again. She draws her oddball collection of neighbors into unlikely friendship. Poised English beauty Fliss, I cannot read today. Poised English beauty Fliss, whose facade of perfect wife and mother covers gaping inner wounds. Police officer's daughter Nora, who is entangled with a shadowy gangster. Frustrated baseball star B, whose career has ended along with the Women's Baseball League of World War II, and poisonous gung-ho Arlene, who has thrown herself into McCarthy's Red Scare. Grace's weekly attic room dinner parties and window-brewed sun tea become a healing balm on all their lives. But she hides a terrible secret of her own. When a shocking act of violence tears apart the house, the Briar Club women must decide once and for all who is the true enemy in their midst. That's what we're reading.
It's a whodunit.
Interesting. So this is another true story.
True story. It's historical fiction.
Just kidding. That's what fiction means. That it was made
up. A story that uses historical facts.
I knew that. For some reason, I was getting it confused with a literary fiction.
Anyways, that's what we're reading.
Also, it's 10 o'clock for me, so I am quite ready for bed.
Okay. Good night.
All right. Thanks for listening, y'all.
Y'all.
Bye.
Y'all.
Jill moves to the Midwest, and now she's...
I don't even live in the Midwest. I've always said y'all. I'm from the South, y'all. I was born in Virginia.
Okay. Never been to the South. She spent 3 months of her life, 2 months of her life in Virginia. 2. There we go. It's just ingrained.
In my blood to say y'all.
Okay, anyways. Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thanks so much for tuning in to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and then follow us on whatever social media platform you use the most. The link for next month's book is going to be down in the description below, so grab your copy and then make sure to share all your thoughts with us.